My name's Andy McNeil. I'm originally from North Yorkshire, and I'm living in Winchester at the moment. And I run a personal training and fitness company. My first reaction when I got first diagnosed was probably confusion as much as anything, because I'd known that I hadn't been very well, but I didn't know what it was, and that it was ironically a locum doctor who was in the surgery that I go to, who'd asked a lot of questions and said, well, look, I think we should go for an X-ray and a blood test and stuff like this. And we think it's lymphoma, and I'd never heard of lymphoma as a cancer before. And then when I did a little bit of research into it, obviously. But it's quite strange in retrospect, looking back at my diagnosis, because I was almost blasé, if I'm honest. It's odd, but it had to be treated. And I can remember going to an ear, nose and throat specialist and saying I had a lump in my neck, so I've got my little scar. And I was, saying we need to take a biopsy, and I said, well, do it now, get on with it now, deal with it straight away. And I think that was my attitude all the way through, just get on with it. I actually changed my day, because I was told that you'd be treated on a Wednesday for lymphoma, and I said, no, I want treating on a Friday, because it worked better for me with work, because I'm self-employed. And they were able to do that. So, and I've said that to people when I've talked to them about my experiences, is that never be afraid to ask a question, and that cancer can be quite overwhelming and very scary, but I think the more you feel like you are taking control of it, the stronger you will feel about it all, because it can be a bit of a whirlwind. I do think it is a real mindset around you have to be positive with it all, because there's no other way to be. If you're going to beat it, and you've got to say, well, this isn't going to get the better of me. I want to be around in 15, 20, 30 years time to be able to see my children grow up and then have children and all that kind of thing. And it is, whether it's because of what I do as a job, I don't know, but I saw it all as literally almost like a training plan, and you start, this is the start of your treatment here, and you have this happens, and if that is still not right, then you have this happen, and that's the path that you go along, and that's actually what you've got to do. And whatever it is that you find makes you feel better, so if I used to like having loads of people around for a big lunch or a big breakfast or something like that, because it made me feel better. As long as they're fit and healthy, and they all knew if they've got a cold they can't come round, particularly if you're in treatment, so your neutrophil count is down. Do things that make you feel good, and that will help you get through it, and that it is just treatment. If you break your leg, you have to have a cast put on it and it's set again. If you've got cancer, this is what you've got to have. When people talk about the ills of chemotherapy, it's an awful thing to do. Chemotherapy saved my life, and it can save other people's lives. I did seek knowledge with regards to my treatment, but the trouble is that the internet is such a dangerous thing, and there's so much stuff out there that is not controlled. Speaking to your oncology team, and again to the lymphoma nurses who are brilliant, the NHS is a fantastic resource that we have. That they do a superb job, and in tandem with the Lymphoma Association, been able to give people support and explain what the treatment path is going to be, and also aftercare as well. You're going to get looked after all the way through. And I remember ringing them up and asking about lymphoma. What is lymphoma? What does it entail? What's going to happen? And they were brilliant. And knowing that you've got a dedicated group of people who are there on the end of the phone, putting you onto other groups like Macmillan as well, who can help out, is really reassuring that there's actually people around who are wanting to help. And that's great.